Well, it's Saturday the 29th of January. This is episode 2204 of 301 Permanently Moved Online, a personal podcast 301 seconds in length, written, recorded, and edited by me, at the JMO. Continuing my train of thought from last week, I've been thinking about how I go about getting the things I'd like to do done. My current strategies just aren't working. This is the thread that I've been pulling on for months now. Do the things that need doing and dealing with procrastination in November, the urgent anxiety of December, and January's fear of finding out. In fact, I can follow this thread all the way back to episode 1824, where the first point for this episode is taken from. In 2018, I said, "Multitasking is largely misunderstood by everyone. Multitasking is holding a conversation whilst juggling, or walking along the road while speaking to a friend or thinking about the next talk you have to write. Multitasking can only occur when one of the behaviours you are tasking on is so automatic that you can just leave it to run whilst you do something else. What most people call multitasking, especially in the workplace, is actually task switching, moving in between single tasks rapidly. Over the last few years, I've gotten pretty good at attending to the task at hand, doing the things that really need to get done on a deadline, etc. My simple strategy has been to simply full screen the application I'm working in. It sounds silly, but if I'm writing, I'll maximise the window to fill the workspace. No clicking away to check the chat, no sneaking a peek at the web, no exceptions. Do the thing until it's done. Now, this is all very well, but my current multitasking problem begins further up. The problem lies on a higher plane of abstraction, away from the here and now. Including all my ambitions for this year that I mentioned last week, I have 27 things on my ideas list in Notion. A further 15 things are sitting on the bench, started, but put down, plus a whole host of other bits and bobs. I went through my Notion and Google Drive earlier this month. I archived anything that was both unfinished and pre-2020, which means as we close out January of 2022, I still have 50 plus ideas swirling around. I mean, I did get organised as I promised myself way back in episode 2018. However, the problem is I haven't finished anything. Having 50 creative projects on the list of things to do results in a different kind of multitasking problem. It's a question of energy and where I'm putting it. These ideas aren't taking up mental energy as all the productivity books imply, as I'm the sort of person who immediately forgets something once it's written down, and someone who immediately forgets something if it isn't written down. The latter behaviour is solved by the former. The difference between the two is that if something is written down, it exists. I can manage, process, and act upon it. If I'm expected to remember something, well, forget it. I use Todoist to manage my day-to-day. In the app, I have a daily recurring task called Push Things Forward. I only tick it off if I've done either of the following things during the day. Write 300 new words or spent 20 minutes editing/noodling on something I've already drafted. In order to qualify, the effort has to be in addition to all the things that I had scheduled to do that day, hence the task's name, Push Things Forward. The problem is, he says, and this is by no means a world-shattering observation, noodling on 15 things and having a further 27 things I could start on means that I'm not finishing anything. My behaviour is literally the lady sweeping the sea meme. I'm not making any significant progress in any direction at all. 300 words here, a new paragraph or sentence rewritten there, is a total waste of time. I recently watched a video by someone who made a video game prototype in 30 days. And you know what? He did it. A huge achievement. During the lessons learned, one of the things that he said was, "I'm glad that I dedicated the whole month to it. If I'd been working on this once a week for 30 weeks, I would have lost interest." Some of the best creative experiences I've ever had have been when I've been working on something and it's become a singular pinhole of focus. Not a Csikszentmihalyi flow state, but a pinhole, and I've been the pin. There's nothing else to be done except to stay in the pinhole and stay with the idea and the energy. You have to ride it for as long as possible. It means staying up late and getting up early, skipping breakfast and getting back to work. I know personally that this state only arrives when I've pushed past the initial stage, when I would usually put it down and lose interest. The pinhole arrives and I can visualise and sense the idea in its entirety. I'm not saying that everything I'd like to do this year become a manically intense experience, but to maximise the chances of its happening, I've decided that I'm only going to do one thing at a time. For the rest of this year, at the beginning of each month, I'm going to look at the ideas pile, pick one or two things on the list, then work on them to completion, to the exclusion of everything else that would usually butterfly my attention away. I'm going to full screen the things that need doing, and then do them one at a time.